We have Dominique Johnson, Diana Revolus as members of the committee, as well as David Hubelman has joined us as well tonight. First item on the agenda, public comments. Is there anyone who is here who would like to speak?
We currently have no public attendees.
Okay. All right, moving on. Next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from the meeting held on June 16th, 2021. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Mr. Burnett moves the minutes. Are there any deletions, changes, comments on the minutes?
I did have, Madam Chair, I did have one minor typographical item on the bottom of page 4 of the minutes. The last paragraph where it says, Ms. Oster said she reviews all of the licensing materials and does drop in visits to both sites. I think that's supposed to be when, W-H-E-N, the programs are running. So that was the only update I had.
Thank you. Good catch. Anything else? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes as amended?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, minutes are approved unanimously. Moving on next to a personnel item, approval of the adjustment to the ordinance employee pay plan schedule. We have Mr. Burney here to talk about this, but the ordinance pay plan, as you are aware, is, you know, we revisit this annually. Just a little bit of background, and I think, you know, Ray, you can go into this a little further. Last year, we brought up some employees who were dramatically underpaid in terms of their counterparts in the union. We brought our elected officials up to an annual pay increase as opposed to during the election cycle every other year. So this is just the annual increase. And so, Ray, I'm going to go ahead and turn that over to you.
I think you summarized most of it, Chairperson Smith. This is a request for this committee and then the Common Council to approve the general wage adjustment for the ordinance employees. Since last July 1st, the unionized workforce has received 2 increases on January 1st and July 1st of this year, equaling about 2.35%. So this is the request for this committee and the full Common Council to approve the concurrent adjustment to the ordinance wage scale of 2.35%.
Any questions? Yes, Mr. Burnett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I get the one question I have is when you say the 2.5, is that across the board regardless of the effective date that's indicated in the chart?
The 2.35% wage adjustment would go into place effective July 1st, so retroactive for about 3 weeks for everyone.
Oh, so regardless of their effective date?
That's correct.
Did you have another question, Mr. Burnett?
No.
Okay, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Mr. Burney. Just to confirm, so we see some vacant positions here, and are those going to be filled? Is this adjustment affect them as well? Like when they're hired, they'll receive the adjustment?
On the sheet that you're looking at, the vacant positions, this is a year-old list. Those positions I do not think were going to be filled And what happens is the entire wage scale gets adjusted, just like the unionized workforce wage scale got adjusted. The entire wage scale would go up 2.35% for each of those wage scales. And depending upon when the person was hired, they'd be hired at the rate in effect that day when they get hired.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Keegan, oh,
Yeah, hi,
Yes, go
Madam
ahead,
Chair.
Mr.
I have Ray, are there any performance evaluations?
The performance evaluations for this, most of the employees on this group are historically tied to the bonus pool, which is not in front of you today. The performance evaluations were sent out to all of these employees around July 1st. And I asked for them to return them to me by the end of the month. That may or may not happen. But the performance evaluations for most of the employees on this list are out and are due back sometime in the next 30 days or so. But the request today is for general wage adjustment, not tied to performance evaluations. We have typically only talked about performance evaluations tied into the bonus pool.
any other questions? Oh, go ahead, Mr. Burnett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I just noticed that this list that we're looking at was updated 9/15/2020, and I still see Nick Roberts on the list. Is this the most current, the most accurate? Is there anything, are these numbers the most accurate that we're looking at?
This list was sent to you to show you what positions are on the list of ordinance positions. The salary ranges are the ranges that were approved and in effect last July 1st, the last time we made this request. So yes, the salary ranges are correct. The list is last year's list. All the positions are the same. There may be one or two people who have changed. Once the Common Council approves the adjustments, we will go in and correct all of the wage adjustments and if there's any new names in there.
Any other questions or concerns? Also, I would just like to note that Mr. Sachinelli has joined us at 7:10. Okay, so yeah, I was just going to say, one additional thing, and I did say this as I introduced it. I think that it's important that we monitor the ordinance pay versus the union pay and make sure that we have equity. So, that is one of the most important things that we're doing here is making sure that that happens and that there is a fair wage increase. And so I think it's worth continuing to monitor this and revisit it as needed. So, having said that, I'll go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor, indicate by raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Nick, I didn't see your vote. Sorry, because you went from, oh, okay, all right.
Voted aye.
Great.
Sorry.
Okay, great. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Okay, moving on to item 5, discussion of community services. So Lamont is going to give us a general update at this time. So go ahead, Mr.
Thank
Dan.
you, and good evening, Madam Chair, and to committee members, council members. Just a few things I just wanted to share both to you all to keep you updated and also to Norwalkers who may be reviewing this either live today or once we archive it on our social media assets. We're really excited once again through the leadership of the Norwalk Public Schools Food Service that we will continue to provide the free summer meals for all children. We've also, for those that are listening, you can find it definitely on the Norwalk Public Schools website, but you also can find it on the City of Norwalk websites. And this is a federally funded program that free meals throughout the entire summer, up to August 30th, 2021. Our goal is that any Norwalk youngster, any Norwalk child between the ages of 2 and 18 can go to a neighborhood school and receive a breakfast meal and a lunch meal, and then meals for the weekend. So this is a program that we want to continue to promote. I'll also send it out to the committee that if you also have social media to share within your district. We're located at a variety of schools: Ben Franklin Community Center, Brian McMahon High School, Columbus Magnet, Jefferson Elementary School, Kendall Elementary School, Marvin Elementary School, Nathan Hale, Ponus Ridge, Tracy, Magnet, and West Rock. And so the question is, why these schools and why these communities? One of the things that through my department is now we're using data. So we were able to provide data to the school district to really identify where are the needs, specifically looking at the free and reduced data, looking at income data, and those that would qualify and eligible for food. And so we continue to promote this. So I wanted to share that program. And also families and individuals with children that come also want to remind our Norwalkers, no questions will be asked. People are concerned that if I'm undocumented or my status, if you have a child and your child needs food, you just let those that are at every site, as Kevin would say, how many children, and we will provide the food to you. And we're really excited. This is any Norwalk child. You do not have to be a student in the public school system as long as your child is between the ages of 2 and 18. And we will take your word that your child is between 2 and 18, and we'll give you the food to help your child. Because again, our goal is not any Norwalk child during the summer to go without food. Secondly, Madam Chair, I just wanted to share, we continue our Family Navigator program, which is funded by the Dahlia Foundation, the Parent Hybrid Foundation, and Kate Ritter is our contact person, the Ritter Family Foundation. And we continue to serve Norwalk residents who, if you have children and just need help around navigating, how do I get help for my child? What are the services and resources? The Family Navigation Program is still serving our Norwalk residents. We're able to continue throughout the whole summer into the fall. And if a Norwalk resident is listening, please call 203-854-7255. And we're so excited to have Spanish, Haitian Creole, and other languages upon request to serve our constituents where English may not be their dominant language. And then finally, Madam Chair, well, two more things. We continue to offer the food program at Veterans Park every single Wednesday from 8:30 to 11:30. However, August 25th, which is the last Wednesday in August, this program will discontinue. So we are urging Norwalk residents to look on the city's website via the health department. We are listing all the food pantries because many of our Norwalk residents relied every Wednesday to go to Veterans Park, and during the winter season, we're at Calf Pasture Park Beach. However, this was a program funded by Connecticut Food Bank and Food Source from an anonymous donor in Fairfield County. While we are so pleased of the services that we've been able to offer on average, well, we're still at 800 to 1,000 cars driving through the beach. However, this was a funded program and the resources are no longer here. However, we want to continue to inform our residents that if they are in need of food, they can rely on the variety of local pantries throughout the city. And that information also lives on the city's website. And if you are driving through, we're actually giving out flyers periodically to residents so that they know where they can go, who to count on beyond the Wednesday food program. And then now the last thing, I also just want to, we made a commitment to Norwalk residents to keep our community informed with the equity and justice work. In fact, tonight, the District E is hosting a conversation. So I wanted to say this to our residents that this is tough work. It's not easy. And one of the challenges, we really do want to hear from you because I am hearing people are saying, does my voice matter? Oh, give us an opportunity. We think we have a good consulting firm to help us. I know that they are meeting in different groups, but we're also relying on you to engage. We've done a Spanish-speaking senior group. We're doing District E. We've hosted a couple of meetings at the library, but we know we need to do more. We're a city almost reaching 90,000, and we want to get a really good representation of the views of Norwalk. Those that would automatically want to be engaged, but also those that have not traditionally been involved. And that's the goal, is to really capture and connect with folks that normally won't be engaged. So I want to give my email address, which is ldaniels@norwalkct.org. I'm really encouraging those, and some people have already, but I want to continue to promote my email, that please reach out to my office. We can help you get engaged. We do get people saying, how can I learn more about it? And then my office then shares that information. But we made a commitment. We're almost in the 5-month range. So we are looking to have Led by Us do a town hall and share with the community what we're doing so our entire community can be engaged. So that is up and coming. But we need your voice. We need your participation. This process is only as good as people being engaged. And we're working with the Led by Us team and other partners such as Norwalk Acts, the Fairfield County Community Foundation, to lend some expertise of how do you get into the community. And we are meeting with other organizations, some of our larger organization institutions, to see if they can host meetings. Because we're finding that if people know other people, they tend to show up. So we recognize that this strategy around engaging is challenging, but we're committed to think through any strategy or any idea so that we can get a good representation. So when we're all talking about how Norwalks feel about living in Norwalk, it's really it's really a good representation of all perspective as opposed to a specific group. So I just want to just share that with both you, the committee, and our residents, that we need your help. We're working on our strategy. We're working, Fairfield County Community Foundation will be helping us think through, or helping Led by Us, how do we communicate it more effectively. There are community events that they are taking advantage of. So if you know of community events and say, I want them at my event, we can make that happen. We're still forming and still getting to where we need to go. I also want to continue to promote the commission is not established. That's the outcome of the process. It's within this process that they'll be recommending, a structure and process for the commission, but that's still being formed. We're also providing research for us around other models across the state so we can look at best practices, so that when we do make a commitment to think about what would our commission look like, we can really learn from our colleagues across the country to learn what worked and didn't work. And then the last, I think I said that already, there's one more thing. We just want to remind Norwalkers that we continue to be at Calf Pasture for vaccines, and we're actually be promoting vaccine sites at the feeding programs, at the food sites. We recognize that we got to get into the community. We got to meet people where they are, and so we're really excited to partner with the Community Health Center Inc. on Day Street and the Norwalk Community Health Center. They are our partners. They're bringing the mobile coach bus out. We're grateful for the library under Sherelle's leadership. We're hosting pop-up clinics at the library in the parking lot, both at Main Street and South Norwalk. We want to continue to encourage Norwalkers to get vaccinated, because it's important that people get vaccinated, and we hopefully will be in a neighborhood near you, so that any barrier to get to places will meet you where you are, and we continue to work with organizations across the city to promote the vaccine and our vaccine mobile sites and our vaccine vans at Carver and so forth. And so we're continue to get the word out and encouraging those that have selected to get vaccine. If you go to our website, you'll also see that on our website. And that's my update for you all this evening, Madam Chair. Return it back to you.
Thank you, Lamont. Just let the record show that Kadeem Roberts joined us at 7:13. And if I may turn it over to anyone for questions for Lamont. Okay, thank you very much for that update. Let's move on to our action items. 6A, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Willing, to execute any and all documents necessary to apply for and accept an American Rescue Plan grant in the amount of $21,459 for the benefit of the Norwalk Public Library. Do I have a motion, please?
Move that,
Ms.
Madam
Johnson?
Chair. Okay.
Okay, Ms. Johnson moves it. And we have Sherelle Harris here from the Norwalk Public Library with some, you've got some really actually kind of exciting items on this list that you intend to use for, this funding for. So let's, I know.
You did it.
I love it. I love it. So Sherelle, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Madam Chair, if I may do
Please.
a brief intro, I think this is the first time that Sherelle Harris has come before this committee. So, and I also would like to this committee congratulate her as being the library director for the Norwalk Public Library. As you all know, the library is part of the Community Services Department. And so we're really excited to have Sherelle a part of the team. She's coming with a lot of, not only just her experience, but just a lot of ideas and vision and innovation of how we look at the library, not just as a place to get books, but a place that people can call home, a place that people can call a resource center. And we're really partnering together. Case in point, as I mentioned, get a book, get a vaccine, get a book.
And some food too.
Get some food too. And so I just want to just acknowledge the vision that she is laying out in terms of really looking at the library as a community hub, as really a anchor in the city. And those are just best practices that are happening all across the country. How can we use the library as that place to go, as that place to be? We're also working with her that I know it has come up in our discussions when I presented to you all in terms of the variety of services. And we're also working with Sherelle and the team that, for some services, people may not feel comfortable coming into a city hall or government building. Well, Sherelle has even offered space even within the library, and they're located in really good places at Main and South Norwalk that residents can meet for services in the library. She's dedicated space to the Community Services Department so that if residents are uncomfortable walking in government building, we can say, guess what? We'll meet you at the library and we can serve you there as well. So I just wanted to just share some remarks around her leadership, and we're looking forward to doing some great things and just how do we serve our constituents better, and the library is at the helm helping us think through that. So thank you, Madam Chair. And Sherelle, we're so excited for what you're doing, and we like when there are grants.
You said don't leave any money on the table, so.
And I have said that. That's been my directive. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And hello, Madam Chair. Thank you, Lamont, and hello to the council. I feel like I'm among friends here. So really excited. This is my first grant as the director of the library. And so, some of the things we asked for is centered around COVID. We don't know how long, we have a COVID fund now. We don't know how long the city will pay for COVID related items. So one of the items are PPE. It looks like masks are here to stay. One good thing that we did learn is even, just if people are sick or have a cough, that we should, have masks, something we didn't do prior to COVID. So we ordered PPE. The other thing is to have hygienic chairs, not to sit on the cushion chairs. You don't know what's left there, whether it's a child or anything. So just to have chairs that we can quickly clean, spot clean, and deep clean. So, and then just to have consistency, we have different types of chairs all over the library. So aesthetically, it will be great to have, consistency among our chairs, as well as, to be able to clean them. Couple of things we're really excited about is the soundproof acoustic pod. One of the things Norwalkers really want are those meeting rooms. So the pods are really nice because they can be used for telehealth. If someone has a telehealth appointment, they can also be used just if somebody just needs a private office. So they're soundproof, they won't disturb anyone else. When we had the cafe put in, we lost a meeting room. So, this will be great, something, pretty chic. So we're pretty excited. The other thing is, so our library is an outdoor and indoor library. So we have seating outside. We have free book giveaways. People sit out, they talk, they read books, they, may do homework outside. So outdoor solar charging station. And I'm going to give a shout out to Diane Lorisello, who's always talking about solar energy. And I know the city, Alan Lowe and everyone has been working, any project that comes up, people are considering solar. So this is our contribution to have a solar outdoor charging station. So that's pretty much it for our grant.
Cheryl, I have a question. How many of the solar charging stations, that wasn't clear in the backup.
So it's one.
Just one?
We like to see how it works,
Got it.
first, and then, maybe we'll get another grant, or maybe the city might pay for another one at Sono.
Yeah, that's great. Questions? Mr. Keegan? You're on mute.
At some point before my term ends, I'm going to stop being on mute, I hope. Cheryl, it's good. Cheryl, it's good to see you. I mean, we go way back to the PTOC days, but in any event, I'm going to defer to, some of our council members that may be a little more savvy with technological things, but how well do those charging stations usually hold up?
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah,
I-
that's
Yeah,
one of the
when I-
only issues that I. Yeah.
So it has a 3-year warranty. Yeah, and so the company, when I asked them, like when we install, if anything's wrong, we have, I think it's 3 months, a window, like if anything goes wrong, to return it or to get other items. But they seem to be a very, very ethical company. And so, but we'll find out. We're
Yeah,
new
I'm
to solar.
just totally curious. I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah, I am so excited. And yeah.
Any other questions, comments? Mr. Burnett?
I'll lower my hand. Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And a couple of questions related to the pods, which are a super great idea. Are those made off-site and brought on-site as one complete unit? So you don't have to do construction, you just have to find a place to put them?
No, there will be some construction inside, not a lot, but some construction. Because as it is, it wouldn't totally fit through our doors. But there will be some minor construction.
Okay. Two more questions. What I wasn't quite clear on how many we were getting and the cost.
So let's see. So we are getting one. It's always good to start off with one if it's something you're not quite familiar with. So the cost for the pod, $8,000.
$8,000 for one,
And
$8,000.
that includes, so we'll have, the electrical outlets, there's a table, and then there's like seating as well.
So my final question is, what do we have to do to get more?
So,
I think this is a great idea to have these soundproof rooms for several purposes. I think we will outlive the usefulness of one, so we should start planning to get more. So what do we need to do that?
so this one is a hit. The count will come back to you for more if we can't get it through another grant. So we've already identified another place at Maine And we definitely want to make sure we can get one at Sono, but Sono is so much smaller. So we just have to find, a space for it, because the need is definitely here, particularly people who just want, if they're entrepreneurs who are working at home and just want to get out, this will be great. They're not disturbing anyone because, we won't hear their telephone conversations. So we're already eyeing 2 more.
Excellent, excellent. I know I'm familiar with what people might call renter office space. For example, WeWork has several locations across the Connecticut, New York area, and these private pods are a huge hit with the the working community in terms of being able to have private meetings, to take private calls, etc. So I will definitely be a supporter of trying to get additional funding for more of these pods, because I think they will be a great enhancement to the library.
I think so. Thank you. And I'd like to give a shout out to Luis Ayala, who's one of our reference librarians, who did the lion's share, of research and help. So shout out to Luis.
And Councilman, if I may, I think what this grant, under Sherelle's leadership, this grant allowed Sherelle's team to be creative and innovative. And if we need to come before council or find or identify additional funding, at least this grant will allow us to say, does it fit? Are we getting good feedback? Does it really make sense? I mean, I think we kind of know the answers, but when Sherelle said, hey, I think there's a grant, we were like, let's go for it and let the grant pilot this. And then if we think that this is something, then we'll look at, what is the strategy to expand? And to your point, if we get 4 more, maybe that's the construction piece or modifying the building. But at this point, it's really around the grant allowed us to be creative with Sherelle and try out some new equipment that we're just not familiar with. And I think we're going to learn a lot. And to your point, I think people are going to say, we want to see more of those. But first time out the gate, we wanted to be modest to kind of just, what is this all about? So we're really excited to with this grant that Sherelle submitted so she can start thinking about reimagining what the library can become in the future, quite frankly.
Yeah, I just, Sherelle, this is really great thinking on your part. I think that this is really appropriate and forward-thinking use of ARP funding. It's exactly what it's meant for. I mean, even just the soundproof pod. I mean, even the idea of residents being able to use that for a telehealth appointment when they are not able to do it at home. I mean, that's really just great thinking. So well done.
Thank you. Team effort, I have to say, definitely a team effort. So,
Ms. Revolus, you have a question?
Question. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hi, Diana.
Hi, Ms. Harris. So, I first of all just wanted to say you are an affiliate representation of District B. You're an affiliate representation of the heart of Norwalk. And you already know that you are like my shining star when it comes to all this. That
I have to live up to that now.
You already have. That being said, not only because I just remember growing up in Stanford with the Fergenstein Library, those private pods actually make the library become home to students. When it becomes with teaching or with the studies, getting together, study groups, so on, it made Ferguson Library a staple for the students there. And it's also going to bring that back, of course, and again, I love us thinking forwardly. Sometimes we have to reinvent the wheel and think innovatively, and I love that. But I just really love the fact that that brings it back to becoming a staple for students in their community, that little quiet, safe spot. You don't know how, well, you do know because you got it, but you don't know how big and how influential it is, especially for high school or middle school age students, to make the library become a place of solace and solitude, runaway spot in a sense, for the lack of better words. You know, that little cubby hole in the wall of Ferguson was a big deal in my life. It's also a great way to get used to the smell of books again. So I just appreciate your thought of it. I appreciate having you in Norwalk, and I definitely love having you for District B. So that's all I wanted to say. But thank you.
Thank you.
I
Mhm.
love that sensory comment there, the smell of books. It's great.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, right.
I love the smell of books. Oh my God. Anyway.
Mr. Hoovelman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sherelle, this is great stuff. I mean, and fantastic. And I echoing everything that's being said. I love the innovation. Is there infrastructure that you need to deal with for the pods? I'm assuming that they have their own environmental control. But are they plug and play? Is it something that you plug into an outlet, or do you have to rewire things or put in technology, internet, or anything like that?
So we don't have to do anything externally, just internally. So we have the option to order the outlets as well, which we will.
Very cool. Thank you. I think it's really exciting.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Carries unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda, also yours. Item B, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute a contract amendment with the Blue Teapot LLC, extending the term of the license agreement for cafe food services at the library through September 6, 2022. Do I have a motion?
Okay, so,
Oh, sorry, we just had.
Oh,
a
I'm
motion.
sorry.
Travelers moves the item and go ahead, Cheryl. I know we're extending the contract is what we're doing. So
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to speak out of turn.
okay.
So the library conducted a survey a few years back, and a cafe was #1 on the list. So we, I think we opened September 7th, 2019. Then we had COVID. So, you know, she had to shut down, you know, after investing quite a bit of money to build. So this contract basically is extended for 2 years rather than the 1 year. And the one difference in this contract and the previous is now she will also offer catering services as well. So we just thought it was a fantastic idea. She's just a phenomenal cook anyway, or, you know, she's a great baker. And so, so if we have programs, just say if the Common Council wants to have a meeting at the library, if you get it catered, I don't know if you get it catered, but you can have an, you know, she can cater your program, or if anyone, like we have condo associations and different people, so she will offer catering as well.
Okay, questions? Ms. Johnson?
I just want to say I'm so happy to see the Blue Teapot get extended, come back again. That was my spot before the shutdown. Wow, it was such a wonderful thing for the library, for the city. It was so good to have my cup of tea while I had my meeting or got my book. And I'm just so happy with the response to it as well. I think I know I'm not the only one in the community that just loved it. So exciting too. There's more opportunities for the Blue Teapot to expand for catering. That's a really excellent possibility. So thank you very much, Cheryl.
Mr.
Thank
Burnett,
you.
I think, yeah, go ahead, Mr. Burnett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just was looking at a point of clarification because the motion says through 2022. However, the wording in the new contract says the license agreement is extended through September 6, 2023. So I just was trying to get clarification on that.
So originally it was 2021. Our board chair, Mr. Knopp, thought that, you know, with all of with the situation with COVID and her having to shut down, that it would be a nice gesture to offer her a 2-year contract rather than a 1-year contract.
So I think the question though is and I noticed that too, actually the 2023 in the actual contract, but yet on the agenda, it's 2022. So are we extending it
So which one is?
2023,
to 2023? All right.
correct.
So we need to amend the actual, the
So
date.
should right, yeah, so that's why I was asking the question. So should the motion that's going to come before the full council read extending it through September 6, 2023, or should it say 2022?
2023.
Okay, so I need a motion to amend the wording of the item. Ms. Revelous makes the motion to change 2022 to 2023. All in favor of amending the wording, the date? Signify by raising your hand. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, that motion carries to amend to the date to 2023. And so any further questions before I call for a vote? Go ahead, Ms. Revelous.
Just being a person who's actually contracted with the library, if he does do catering, is it like an option then that they would just like a person would select? Like, how would that catering work? For example, you know, Hack has worked with the library. We did an event, but is it something like we just select, we would like catering, and then it would be like an additional add-on type of thing?
Correct. So you can,
Okay.
that will be one of the options, one of our meeting room options. And so you would prearrange, her number and everything will be there, and you will prearrange the catering with her.
Okay, all right. And we have
With
this-
Neoli, I'm sorry, Neoli Potts.
and she has, and not to be extra, but do we have do we cater to people like with food variations like that don't eat meat or stuff like that? I know it doesn't matter, just wondering.
Yeah, you can work that out with her.
With her, she does have those options though?
Yeah, I don't
Okay,
know.
just wondering.
You would, yeah.
Oh.
So I know she will offer like sandwiches, desserts, coffee, soda, and things like that.
Just wondering
So-
like that gluten or dairy or non, all that, you know.
You
that
know what?
jazz.
She's a great dietitian. She's great with healthy things, even like the sugar. So I'm sure she would have those options, but those are all things that, you know, would be prearranged with her.
Awesome. That's my only question. Also cool, but that was it. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, I'll call for a vote now. All in favor? Raise your hand. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, motion carries. Blue teapot.
Thank you.
Forward.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Sherelle. Thanks for
Thank
joining.
you.
All right, moving on to item 6A, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to accept Department of Children and Families grant funds in the amount of $55,033 and an additional $12,891 in enhancement funds to support the operation of the Norwalk Youth Services Department and its programs, restorative justice, care coordination, peer connection, as the designated Youth Services Bureau for the city of Norwalk. Application submission deadline is September 1, 2021. Grant award period is July 1, 2021 through June 30th, 2023. Award amount in the 2023 fiscal year may be adjusted slightly from the 2022 fiscal year per DCF funding guidelines. Do I have a motion?
Move that.
Thank you. Mr. Sachinelli moves the item. And this is a recurring grant that the city receives from DCF. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn that over to Lamond and David.
Yep.
to
David,
close
take it
that.
away. As you all know, David leads our Youth Services Bureau and our Youth Services Department. He's here to speak on funding that that they administer and serve our youth throughout the city. So I'll turn it over to David.
Yeah, we've had this grant for I don't want to say forever, but since the beginning when the state first statutorily defined youth service bureaus and provided funding for them. So it's a non-competitive grant. the money's allocated. If you don't apply for it, you don't get it. But we've applied for it every year. One of the things DCF did do this year, which they used to not do, is they combine the enhancement portion into the regular grant funding. Typically, the enhancement portion is more program directed. So the enhancement portion that we're getting, we're using to fund our Peer Connection program, which we've had for many years. It's a middle school aged program that's a youth development type program. It's activity based. And then the other thing I want to use some of the money for out of the enhancement funds is we've recently brought on, I believe he's Norwalk High School student. Maybe he's McMahon, I'm getting confused, but he's actually a great kid and he's working with us in revamping our website. And I know he's also going to do not just our department, but also the Human Services and Community Services websites. He's going to do some tweaks to. So we're bringing him on as sort of a website manager intern. And we're going to use some of that. He's currently working with us now through summer youth employment. That's only a 6-week period, but we want to keep him on through the year to manage the website, make upgrades, to keep it up to date. And then hopefully if this activity continues, bring maybe another student on that he can sort of train on the work he's done, and we could sort of keep that going. And it's great to have youth directly involved in the management of our website. We've given them quite a bit of license and sort of artistically developing. Of course, we're going to review it and probably make some adjustments to that. So that's really where the funding is directed. The main grant really just subsidizes the operations of the department. If we didn't have that money and the city wanted to maintain the functions, they'd have to kick in an extra $55,033. So it acts as a subsidy.
Thanks, David. Are you shifting the way you use these funds?
The only shift is
COVID, like some of the changes that you've seen with kids and the way they need to be allocated.
Well, we have made some shifts in the operations of the department. We're no longer doing direct service counseling. We've replaced that with care coordination. So when youth and families come in, they do get a behavioral health assessment, and then they're connected up with providers in the communities, within the community, or they may be connected in, if they have social service needs that are identified, they might be connected internally to the family navigation program or the community resource specialists, depending on the needs of the family. So we're really capturing not just whatever behavioral health needs they might have, but any other needs: housing insecurity, food insecurity, athletic programs. We're trying to partner more with Parks and Recreation. And so, as Lamont likes to say, it's one-stop shopping, all things youth. So in terms of COVID, during most of COVID, we were operating, but we pretty much went remote on everything. Since the mid-May, we're all back in the offices. We're mostly, some of our operations are remote. They've continued to do the juvenile review board hearings remotely. And I'm not sure, we may go back to a hybrid model. I mean, one of the advantages of remote is we have people on that panel coming from different parts of the county. We have people coming down for Bridgeport who are part of the juvenile court system. So actually remote has in some ways worked better. We have families with transportation issues, and if they can attend a hearing remotely, that works better for them. So I imagine over the year, we may do a hybrid where we do some of it remote and go back to doing some of it in person. And that's the same thing with our care coordination. We've been doing some remote, some in person. We're really offering that flexibility to the families. If they would rather do it remotely, we will. If they want to come in, they can come in and see somebody live. So that's been the primary impact of COVID with us, is just the remote versus in person.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? And the motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so any final thoughts or? All right, where's that motion? Ms. Revolus.
Motion to
Let's hear
adjourn.
it.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Smiles.
All right.
Thank you. Have a good night,
Very
everyone.
good. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye.
committee. Thank you. Thank you, David.
Bye.
Thank you, Sherelle. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Sherelle.
Bye.
Bye.